right now, I think the Fed is way more responsible for a soft landing than the government.
Well, what about
Really, what the Fed do?
main M-
They
the government. There's no necessity for the government to borrow anymore. Well, it
I mean,
depends. I mean,
it
if you have
takes a lot of time, and they fuck up the spending. So why would I rely on policy?
you could have it as an
we could have
automatic.
automatic stabilizers to some extent,
Yeah,
I'm sure, but
that interest rate is the interest rate we pay on government debt, and so if you keep that high, then the government is gonna. I mean, the interest payments are ridiculously high. How is that
Okay.
not supporting inflation?
no, this argument's dumb. But
On the dead, it's not.
Why
Yeah,
is this
that's
argument dumb? Why is this argument dumb?
Well, first of all, doesn't Stephanie Kelton literally think that high interest rates increase inflation?
yeah, this is
Yeah, that
the
was the argument I was presenting.
yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support the channel, and I'll make sure to reply.
Oh wait, by the way, I've been saying this to another person with a profile picture like that today. Just so you know, you will never be Patrick Bateman. You will never be like him.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
You will never be Patrick Bateman.
I probably had this profile picture for like 8 years or something, so
Okay.
it's not. I'm not under any delusions that I'll transform into a movie character.
Just saying, you will never be him. Okay, go ahead.
But you were saying.
Okay, we got 10
essentially
minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. You were saying that you think MMT is essentially just trying to justify the priors of left-wing people?
No. I think a lot of left-wing people subscribe to MMT because they want to justify their priors.
Well, that might be true, but it's the same as people that attach themselves to like the Chicago school or something, or the
No, 100%. Yeah, do you think I hold a positive view of Austrian econ? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course they are. So many Austrians are just like there because they're libertarians and they want to justify their priors. Obviously.
Yeah, I think the issue is, like, there's a lot of, the ideology of economics has changed so much over time,
And it's still so far from MMT. What does it say about MMT, huh?
Well, I don't know, because this is my issue, when economists try to engage with it, it feels like they never actually understand it.
Okay.
But, like this article, I was reading the other day was from Scott Sumner, the market monetarist guy. He had some.
Yeah, I know more. I know Sumner.
Yeah,
he
I
had some
know.
quote where it was quoting an MMT person essentially saying that the government doesn't need tax revenue to fund itself, and he went on some like tangent about how, well, the Laffer curve of seniorage means that if you start taxing people more, like you're not actually going to increase real revenues. It's like, it's kind of a weird.
Yeah, I didn't read the laughter thing, but I'm just saying, I remember. Okay, wait, give me a second. Let me find it. Okay. Would you say something like this? The idea that deficits don't matter for countries that can borrow in their own currencies, I think, is just wrong. We're going to have to either spend less or raise more revenue. Do you think that's a true statement or a false statement?
We're going to either have to spend less or raise more revenue.
Yeah.
The thing is, MMT, I guess, what it would say is that inflation is the only constraint, right? But, ultimately some of the implications are pretty much basic Keynesianism, the same that was practiced like up to the 70s. So,
Sure.
Maybe you have to spend less or raise more tax revenue to manage demand or something, but...
Okay.
I'm
just saying. This has been the quote. The quote I read was said by our king, my king, not Krugman, Jerome Powell. My God, my emperor.
True.
I mean, I think
Time
it was
Person of the Year this time for sure.
Someone asked Jerome Powell, like one congressman or something, about MMT during a congressional hearing. He really.
I think that's what I was quoting. I think that's what I was quoting.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was that. But it's funny. I mean, he's not an economist, but all these people, the neoliberal subreddit loves him. He's a law school degree.
He's a god. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, you think it's fine to have someone who's just a law school finance bro as a Fed chair?
Listen. We've had a soft landing, okay? So clearly.
Okay.
Look, I mean,
He's doing
I
good.
can credit Republicans when they're doing an amazing job. Okay, Jerome Powell has been doing an amazing job. I can say
You
it.
know, I mean, I guess MMT is very skeptical of monetary policy as a tool. So,
And they're
you
retarded
know,
for it, yeah.
well, but that's the thing. I mean,
Okay, well,
that's why
here's the. I mean,
inflation-
clearly, like the fiscal support that we had
Monday.
during 2022 was also important, right? Like the American Rescue Plan was probably. I would even say that was probably more important than anything the Fed did. Like, I don't know if
Okay. Right now, I think the Fed is way more responsible for a soft landing than the government.
Well, what about
really what the Fed do? They, I mean, I guess they raise interest rates.
Well, I mean,
but like,
keeping the interest rates high, despite people wanting the opposite, and only now releasing them. That I think that's been good. I think the decreasing of the money supply under Biden for a while, that was good. I mean, yeah, we can go on.
But the MMT argument about the high interest rates is that that interest rate is the interest rate we pay on government debt, and so if you keep that high, then the government is gonna. I mean, the interest payments were ridiculously high. You know, how is that not supporting inflation?
no, this argument's dumb. But
On the debt, it's not.
Why
Yeah,
is this argument dumb? Why is this argument dumb?
Well, first of all, doesn't Stephanie Kelton literally think that high interest rates increase inflation?
yeah, this is
Yeah, that was the argument I was presenting.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to look at the regressions, bro?
You know, it's interesting.
Show me the data. Show me the data. Show me your data.
Well, you know, I guess sometimes it's hard to separate cause and effect, but you know, it also depends on the level of government debt. If our level of government debt is so high, then maybe with other countries with lower.
What if we had like a day in 1987, just throwing a year, where the stock market would crash like 24% or something, similar to the Great Depression, even slightly worse, and then like the federal government, they don't have enough time to fiscally spend, okay? But then the Federal Reserve just injects a lot of money into the economy and practically saves it from a recession. Would that like change your priors about or your belief?
No. I agree that the Fed can prop up the financial system, but I'm just saying I don't know. I don't think it can actually have that much effect with demand management, which is what it's trying to do when it fights inflation.
Okay, you think that's wrong?
Okay.
Well, I don't. I would think the Fed is not necessarily able to print its way to full employment. The way fiscal support can probably have a bigger effect there. But
I will actually say this, okay? Austrians. Wait, give me a second. Yeah. So, I would say Austrians have a better theory of why the Fed cannot really affect the demand management than MMTers. They're both wrong, but at least Austrians can, and it's not particularly Austrian, they just use this argument a lot. Like, they can cancel an effect. Like, they can at least cite that, and that's accepted, or at least in the economic theory for centuries. MMTers, they just tell me, they just tell me, no, I don't think that's true. It's like, they don't cite me any data.
No.
They don't have any mathematical model. They don't look at the historical record. It's just boring. What do I do with that?
I don't know if that's exactly. I mean, I don't know if I'm presenting the best case for MMT right now, but I'm just trying to.
Wow.
But I think Austrians do think also that the Fed can affect demand management. I mean, in terms of their whole theory is that the Fed sets an artificially low interest rate, and that causes malinvestment or whatever.
Yeah, but
that would be excess.
Yeah, but the canceling effect is that the biggest effect of monetary policy is going to be on the first people who get it. And so it's mostly going to affect the financial sector and not the people at the bottom when you do monetary policy. That's their idea. And I don't know to what extent it's verified in the literature, but I don't think it matters much. Because I think we have good evidence that monetary policy works.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, it works at times, but for example, people talk about the failure of QE. I mean, QE probably didn't spur aggregate demand growth nearly as much as people thought it would. People were predicting that there was going to be hyperinflation and stuff.
Yeah, because people thought it was printing money.
Dumb people thought it's just a way to manipulate long-term interest rates.
Even for the people that didn't think it was going to produce hyperinflation, they thought it was going to spur a lot more aggregate demand growth.
QE doesn't change. QE, I don't think, changes the money supply.
It changes the amount of bank reserves.
Yeah,
it changes the composition of the money supply. Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't increase M2, right? Does it? I don't think it does.
Well, yeah.
I
I think it does.
depends. I think it increases M2, but like we just don't count. The reason that is because securities accounts weren't convertible to gold, so we don't count them in M2, right? Isn't it it's a relic of the gold standard thing? That's what Moser told me, and Moser would never lie.
Okay.
Well, I think treasuries as a whole are a relic of the gold standard. When the government actually had to borrow, from the private sector. The government, there's no necessity for the government to borrow anymore.
Yeah, I do think, QE changes
issue.
M2. It doesn't always change M3, though, because securities are counted in M3, I think. Some of them are. I think
it looks like it does. Yeah, so maybe I was remembering the wrong. But either way, I'm just saying QE. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of QE. I don't think the Fed did much QE lately. In 2008 was mishandled in many ways. In many senses, we did not recover still from 2008. If you look at the gap between real and potential GDP. But I'm just saying, QE. Not the biggest fan of QE. Also, you could say counterland effects were playing there because it also increased inequality. It seems like in studies. I don't know.
Well, what Krugman was saying, 2008 when they passed that $700 billion stimulus was that it's going to be too small, and then when it's too small, it's not going to spur aggregate demand enough, and people are going to say, oh well, fiscal stimulus doesn't work, but it's false reasoning, obviously.
Sure, I mean I'm fine with some fiscal spending. I'm just saying it's not like people think of it way too much. Like do you trust Republicans right now to pass any coherent bills? Why would we save aggregate demand?
Well, I don't trust Republicans with anything. But.
Yeah, so why would we want to manage aggregate demand through?
Well, it
takes a lot of time, and they fuck up the spending. So why would I rely on policy?
We could have automatic stabilizers to some extent, I'm sure, but
if you have a progressive tax system, if you get more inflation, that pushes people into higher tax brackets. That's kind of like automatic demand management.
Wait, what do you mean? What?
If you have a progressive tax system.
Oh, yeah, because the tax brackets are nominal. Yeah. It's dumb. That's retarded.
Okay, well, your 10 minutes is up. I'm glad we've had this debate.
This was insanely productive.
This is going to get so many YouTube views, I bet.
You don't have to upload this as a section. Or whatever.
I might. I don't know. We'll see. But
Okay. Just saying,
I will
whatever
look
Krugman
anything
says,
I can for views.
whatever Krugman says, I probably believe. Okay.
He's MMT.
Okay, based.
I don't think he's MMT
No,
build at all. I'm the median. I'm like the average Krugman and Yellen and Ben Bernanke. Okay, whatever they say, I believe.
I think Krugman's pretty much MMT, but he thinks.
Wait. What do you think of the movie Cars?
Oh my god.
I haven't seen it since I was a young child.
Did you like it as a child?
I think I did.
That explains a lot. Okay, good night.
Not cussy.
Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. If you want to chat with me live, sub here or go to Nonfon420 on Twitch or Kick via the links below. Once again, please like and sub to help with the algorithm, and consider sending a donation through YouTube Super Thanks to directly support me, and I'll make sure to reply to any question you ask. See you guys next time.